All right, what's going on, guys? ATC here. Get everything set up. There we go. All right. Post the link real quick. All right. You guys just joined. You can skip to probably like 1 minute or so before we get started. Up. All right. Let's go right into it. So let's start with ES first, guys. So futures right now. Futures, let's zoom out to the weekly like we always do, right? So we ended the week right below the trend line, right? We rejected again that 50 MA, which I mentioned, right, that we would be coming up to retest this week again. So what we're looking for again this week is just basically going to be a strong earnings, okay? We have earnings coming up this week, so pretty much tech earnings are going to be the make it or break it for this week. What we have this week is right here. We got these in here. There we go. This is what we have for the week to kick off. Biggest ones are going to be Verizon, Lockheed Martin, J&J, 3M, Raytheon. Obviously, Microsoft is the biggest one so far for the week. Then we have Boeing, AT&T, Tesla, obviously huge. Now, IBM, JetBlue, some of the airlines here, Southwest, American, MasterCard, Visa, Intel, Chevron, and Amex. Okay, a couple other names in here, but nothing too crazy notable. So, going back to the charts, so we want to basically see, we're gonna have to basically wait for Microsoft to report to see where we're at with big tech. All we had so far was Netflix, which obviously was a good ER, but nothing too dramatic from them, obviously, because they already had the massive drop. So going forward, we'll have to see what we can get from these earnings before we break up the trend line. Now that will also break us up on the NASDAQ as well, which actually did clear that trend line, right? But we wouldn't call this a perfect trend line break. It depends where you draw your trend line, right? If you draw it from wick to wick, it could be here, right? If you draw it from body to body, it could be where I just had it before. So, if we leave it wick to wick here, same thing though, we need to come up and break above this 12K level this week after Microsoft and Tesla earnings if we want to see markets go higher. So besides that, excuse me. Besides that, we can take a look at the Russell, which again, same type of scenario, right? We have this big resistance that we talked about last week that we want to get over. Once we get over that, we should see small caps start to run again too. The Dow coming off, the Dow coming off of a bit of a red week, following up on that move into tech. So we actually saw tech start to fly a bit up last week, right? So there was a bit of a sell-off in the Dow. Dow needs to just get back above this 34,635 level, right? So that's that. All right, so let's dive into individual names. Start with Amazon. Somebody posted already. Yeah, so Amazon looks great going into this week as well. Really looking for that $100 target, right? If a lot of these names, these tech names are going to just wait for earnings, right, on Tuesday. They're going to wait for that Microsoft earnings. So tomorrow might not even trade too much, me personally. Tuesday I'll probably take some type of a tech play on another company. So if Microsoft is going to do well, I'll probably take a play on another tech name in the sector. But we'll have to see, where price action is right before the close on Tuesday first. So anyway, Amazon looks great though, because we have obviously a nice rejection here right at 99.100, retrace down back to this 94 level, right, and then we got a nice green pump on Friday. So looking to break out towards that 100 plus level. Really, this is our target. This is what we've said. We were aiming for pretty much last week and going into this month, right? 101. So we'll actually look at Microsoft now while we're here. Looking at tech. Microsoft's at a very critical level. It's at this, previous rejection spot. So it's a tough spot to break up, right? So if it's probably not going to until they release earnings. So once they release that earnings, we'll be able to see if we get that pop back up, maybe towards this 250 level, 255. There's a huge, pretty much, volume shelf that doesn't come up till 256, right? So once you get over this 242 volume shelf, right, it's a pretty clear ride to 250s. So that's about, about 5% or so back up to here, 5-6%. So I'm sure that's what the implied move is. Christoph said, "Hey Brett, why on earth are layoffs good for stocks? Short-term bearish." So this is how it works. So keep in mind, what is the point? How do you tame inflation? To tame inflation, the Fed raises rates. When the Fed raises rates, less companies borrow money. When less companies borrow money, they cannot hire as many people. When they cannot hire as many people, they have to also fire people, right? You also have to realize in this past couple years, right, pretty much 2-3 years, a lot of AI has come out to replace a lot of jobs. So a lot of people's jobs just aren't needed right now as they were before. Okay, when a company cuts jobs, what happens? If they're saving that money not having to pay salaries, right, their profits will go up 1, 2, 3, 4%, right? So that's good for stocks, right? People don't care, investors don't care about if people are losing their jobs. They care about if the company they're investing in is making profit. So, leave out the average person, right? And then just pretty much, keep in what it would be like to have a business, right? And what happens when you do things. So that's the main thing. In the long term, it could be a bearish sign because it means companies might not be growing, certain ones, right? Because you only keep hiring if you're growing. But a pause in a company is not the worst thing, right? Especially during these times. So if, over the next year, there's more layoffs, etc. As long as we see it to start to pick back up in another year and a half or so, it's pretty much not a big deal for me. All right. So next one will be Tesla, which has earnings this week as well. So I wrote this name up pretty well. I wrote it up to about this 126 or 128 level, I think, and then I didn't really play it at all this week. It's in a tough spot for me here. While there's a lot of room to run, we're right back at this flag volume shelf here up to basically 140 to 150, which is just a tough level, right? So until these earnings, you could actually look at this like if Tesla does have a good earnings, you could see it run back to 200 fast. So I think this would, and you want to see their guidance. So I do want to see, I probably will personally for this take maybe some type of March, like a March or April, 175 call, something like that, or 170. So basically I'll look for the top of this range in like 2 months, and then I'll probably play like $100 put. So I might do something like that. A strat I'll pick in 2 different strikes. The earnings. right? So that's about a 30% move down and about a 30% move up, which should be doable in 2-3 months. Netflix is I'm actually in calls right now. I'm still swinging that. I like Netflix. They had a good earnings. We broke above that 330 level. It's pretty much 359's in play, and then 380 for me. So I'm basically looking to get this 359 this week. Yep, I was getting to Boeing, so I was just doing the tech stocks first. Some of the ones I liked. Boeing has earnings. Boeing's just been flying, literally, right, high up for the past couple of months. So it's really tough to long here for me, just because we're coming into like just that 220 level. You can see how much chop there was around here, right? So this is just a no-fly zone for me. Swing trading, with how I trade, maybe day trades it's good, but when a stock explodes like this, it's not a long for me. So I'd actually prefer a bad earnings and then to long it somewhere around here. Yeah, Roku. So I like Roku. I think this is one of the names that you can buy and hold for a bit at these levels. That should see some type of recovery via reversal. Nothing crazy, but you can get an easy 2x back to the 100 here if we do see a good tech earnings. Then you could see these smaller cap names. Keep in mind, guys, only a $7 billion market cap, right, compared to the overall hundreds of billions that we're trading usually daily or trillion. So I like Roku. I like Roku back to at least 60 hopefully this week, and then if we clear that top of the range, then we'd look good to shoot back towards this $80 level. No, I don't trade in LLC or S Corp right now, but I have a couple different accounts. So I have an account that I did like riskier plays last year in. I have multiple accounts, and the point of that is to do it under I have a couple that are either under a business or myself, right? So if you put a couple under a business, right, if you're doing some type of riskier one, you can write off those losses, and then if you take regular types of trades to recoup your losses that year or the next year, right, then you're able to tax harvest in that regard. But it really depends, because if you're just paying yourself out, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, you're going to be sending the income to yourself, so it's going to be based on your income bracket. I heard about a way you can trade and then you can pay yourself the income as a dividend each year, and that I haven't looked into too much, but apparently you can save there. But I don't mind paying taxes right now. I'm going to try to focus on tax management and optimization this year, though. Can you take a look at Boyle? Yeah, this is just terrible. I was long on this around this like $30, this like $30, $20 level, and I was catching some of these pops. Where was it? $30? Yeah, right here. Somewhere in like early December, I was catching a couple of these pumps and stuff, but as soon as we broke below here, this was really kind of it for me, for the most part. It's just a 3x leverage, play. So tomorrow you'll be up 21% if it holds right now on NG, but it's tough. Is it 3x or maybe it's 1.5? I forget, one or the other, but I don't know. The thing is rebalancing with this. You need like a 2-week run in natural gas in order to see this move. Yeah, I like Baba. The problem is a lot of these names, I caught this whole move up, right? And we're at the point where like you're very overextended to the upside, but like if the market has good news, you can just keep running. So that's the problem for me. I like Baba here though. Once we get back over that 120 level, I think it can keep going, but it's just very hard to say things don't need a breather after they have, you know, a 30-40% move, right? Can you give a few pointers when you look for swing entries versus day trade opportunities? Swings, just look on the longer time frame, right? That's it. Day trades, you only use the smaller ones for the most part. Yeah, I might make a long-term investment channel in the same stocks. Yep, possible. We looked at gold and oil last week. We basically just said, you know, we're looking at probably coming into these highs here at 2K, right? So gold's on a nice move. Oil we didn't look at. Oil I said as well that I think this could be a potential long opportunity, right? See this consolidation here at these lows. You're starting to see, you know, more of holds, right? When we're on this breakdown here, okay? So we have this clear support here. They're starting to squeeze a little bit, right? Could break out at any time, you know, it could happen here. It could keep going like this and break out here, right? So you don't know, but it looks decent considering that it bounced right here, the 72 level, and you can see that that was a clear high back here, right? Back in 2018. So yeah, so that's it, guys. Not too much. I'm not watching too many things this week until we get that Microsoft earnings. Nvidia looks pretty good, but a lot of these names are a bit overextended. I catch these reversals. I like to catch these big reversals and moves up. I don't like to long the highs, but if they look good, then I'll do it. But it's just very hard for me. One thing that hasn't moved enough yet, I like shop. I think this can have a continuous move if we get that nice push right here. I love shop. I love shop here above 40. For a trader that's not as experienced as you, would you recommend TOS or IBKR? I've used both and I love TOS, but don't have the 25K and IBKR. There's no PDT rule. Just use a TOS cash account. That's what I would do, personally. Eric, that's up to you, man. You know, if you want to be an influencer, an educator, as well as a trader, it's up to you. But alright, guys, that's pretty much it. You know, I don't really plan too much. A lot of people like plan a bunch of stuff, and sometimes I'll plan stuff out, but I like to look at a lot of things live for the most part, especially at the levels we're at right now, because we just went on an extreme run. So until we see some moves above these levels or some types of retraces, I'm not interested in too many things. I'm interested in names like Beyond, Roku, Shopify, you know, these smaller cap, high growth names that got beat up, that didn't get that full explosion the past couple of weeks yet, that could see, you know, a nicer move up. We caught this coin move, which was fucking awesome. Costco looks good, CRM looks good. You know, I like names that are primed for reversals. Bright. Home Depot might be that low there. Alright, so that's it pretty much. Yeah, just it's a weird spot for me here. So it's gonna be a risk off start to the week for me until Microsoft earnings. Eamon, if you go back in the video, I went over Amazon. But yeah, that's it, guys. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'll see you in the chat, and let's get it going. All right. Cheers.